afternoon, everyone. The time is now 12:01 p.m. and I will call this meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I am Bega Board Member Melissa Tucker, and I am presiding over this meeting in the absence of Bega Chairperson Norma Hutcheson. Thank you. No, I'll try this. This meeting is being held at the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability, located at 1030 15th Street Northwest, Suite 700 West, and virtually. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Charles Nottingham, Felice Smith, and Darrin Sobin. Together, the four of us constitute a quorum for this meeting. Since it was first posted, the agenda for today has not changed. I would ask that members please take a moment to review the agenda.
So moved. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. If no one has any comments or suggestions, all those in favor of adopting the agenda, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. Before us today are the September 2024 draft meeting minutes. Will members please review them and make a motion that we consider the approval of these meeting minutes?
I'll offer the motion to approve the meeting minutes from the September meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that the board consider the approval of the September 2024 meeting minutes. I will give, the board has already reviewed it. Does anyone have any questions or any suggested changes to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the September 2024 meeting minutes, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the board approves the September 2024 meeting minutes. Next, we will hear a report from the Office of Open Government, Niquelle Allen, Director of the Office of Open Government, who will provide us with a report on behalf of the office. Director Allen, please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Presiding Member Tucker and members of the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, which I will refer to as OOG. Our mission is to ensure that all persons receive full and complete information concerning the affairs of the District of Columbia government and the actions of its officials. Since the last board meeting, OOG has continued its work to ensure that the District of Columbia government's operations are transparent, open to the public, and promote civic engagement. To that end, OOG has enforced the Open Meetings Act, advised on the Freedom of Information Act's requirements, and provided training on those transparency laws. OOG proudly served as advocates for an open and transparent government. I will start with our Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice. Advisory opinions. I have not issued an advisory opinion since the last board meeting. Formal legal advice. On October 2nd, 2024, OOG issued a D.C. proactive disclosure checklist to assist FOIA officers with their duties. D.C. Official Code Section 2-536B requires agencies to make certain records public and available on the internet. OOG sent a reminder to FOIA officers to check their agency's websites to verify compliance with its requirements and bring the agency into compliance if the information is not available. Informal advice. Since the last board meeting, OOG has responded informally via email, telephone, or teleconference to requests for assistance as follows: 4 requests for OMA advice, 6 requests for FOIA advice, and 11 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. Next is meeting monitoring. OOG staff attends public bodies meetings in person and remotely to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act. They also inspect public bodies' websites and the Office of Open Government Central Meeting Calendar for public meeting notices and records. OOG's attorneys provide legal advice on the OMA compliance and take corrective action if necessary. During September 2024, OOG's legal staff attended 15 public body meetings, and as a result of the monitoring, we did not have to issue any corrective measures. Next is training and outreach. First is Center for Creative Leadership at Eckerd College Leadership Development Program. On September 8th through the 13th, I attended the Leadership Development Program, which is a 5-day intensive course on the principles and practices of effective leadership at Eckerd College in St. Petersburg, Florida. My cohort included 12 leaders from all over the country. The LDP program provided the following: how to enhance impact by building self-awareness and agility, methods for accelerating team performance, techniques for giving and receiving feedback, tools for developing resilience and leveraging their many roles and intersecting identities, skills for building trust and leading with authenticity in a diverse, changing world, ways to elevate equity and activate diversity, and lead inclusively. The LDP program enabled me to gain a clear perspective on who I am as a leader, and it helped me to find balance to thrive in professional and personal environments. Next is the updated electronic records general schedule. On September 11th, Attorney Anthony J. Skirbo attended the updated electronic records general schedule training. This training covered the DC record schedule, last updated in 2012, which now reflects up-to-date uses of technology, including the widespread use of social media by agencies to engage with the public. Artificial Intelligence Public Listening Session. On September 13th, Attorney Skirbo attended the first Artificial Intelligence, or AI, public listening session of the Mayor's Artificial Intelligence Values Advisory Task Force on behalf of myself. The session was virtual. As the district navigates the rapidly evolving landscape of artificial intelligence, it is important that we hear from all stakeholders and hear what the public has to say about AI. Additionally, there was an AI briefing and a moderating discussion with co-chairs, Deputy Mayor for Education, Paul Kine, and the AI Task Force. DC Bar Artificial Intelligence Summit. On September 16th, Attorney Skirbo attended the DC Bar AI Summit, exploring how the legal profession can maximize the use of AI technology while recognizing the ethical issues surrounding it. Meeting with the Mayor of the District of Columbia's General Counsel, Betsy Cavendish. On September 18th, OOG held a lunch meeting with the mayors of District of Columbia's General Counsel, Betsy Cavendish, and her legal staff at Bega's offices. OOG's attorneys and paralegal provided presentations on FOIA, OMA, and the office's activities. We also provided a tour of our facility after the meeting. Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics, 23rd Annual Compliance and Ethics Institute Conference. From September 22nd to 25th, the Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics, or SCCE, held its 23rd Annual Compliance and Ethics Conference in Grapevine, Texas. The conference also included a virtual option. Chief Counsel Neal, Attorney Lewis, and Attorney Lelma attended the SCCE conference in person. Myself and Paralegal Brown attended the conference virtually. The conference included a variety of learning tracks on regulatory trends, program management insights, professional skills for compliance practitioners, and more. OOG team members attended 44 training courses, and a list of the courses, including the details regarding which members attended, is included in Dropbox for your information. Mayor's Cabinet Meeting. On September 25th, I attended the Mayor of the District of Columbia's Cabinet Meeting. The meeting was held at the Washington Post offices here in D.C. There was a presentation by members of the media. The meeting also included information regarding the FY24 and FY25 budgets and included a Homeland Security briefing concerning the upcoming election and the 2025 presidential inauguration. Open Meetings Act training. On September 26, Attorney Skirbo conducted Open Meetings Act training for the Mayor's Advisory Commission on Deaf, Deafblind, and Hard of Hearing at the Wilson Building. Director Allen, myself, also attended the training. AI Values Alignment Advisory Group second listening session. On September 26th, the AI Values Alignment Advisory Group, of which I'm a member, convened its second public listening session in person. The AI task force was present along with members of the public. The listening session was held in the Marion Barry building in the old City Council chambers. Deputy Mayor for Education Paul Kine gave an overview of the AI solutions currently being used in the DC public schools. Members of the public engaged with AIVA by asking questions about AI in the district and making public statements about their concerns. Americans with Disability Act, or ADA, Title I and Title II. On October 3rd, I, along with Chiefs Counsel Neal, Attorney Skirbo, Attorney Lewis, Attorney Lelma, and Paralegal Brown, attended the ADA Title I and Title II Bega staff training provided by the DC Office of Disability Rights. Title I of the training addressed the rights of individuals with disabilities not to be discriminated by employers. Title II of the training examined the prohibition of discrimination in general against qualified individuals with disabilities. Both segments of the training session emphasized the importance of using appropriate terms when addressing individuals with disabilities and stressed the significance of employers and employees being knowledgeable of their respective rights and obligations. Next is the litigation and legislative update. Litigation, first case is DC Open Government Coalition versus the District of Columbia, case number 2023-CAB-007251 in DC Superior Court. I have previously reported on this case, which involves the Open Government Coalition suit seeking accounting of the backlog of public record requests submitted through FOIA Express's public access link. Following the appointment of Judge Milton Lee as Chief Judge to the Superior Court, the case was reassigned to Superior Court Judge Catherine Oler. At a September 13th status hearing, Judge Oler heard representations from both parties. The parties had been unable to reach an agreement regarding the sufficiency of the documents provided by the Office of the Chief Technology Officer. Plaintiffs asked the court to set a briefing schedule for motions for summary judgment. The government opposed this on the basis that no new issues had been raised since the last time the parties briefed the issue. On September 17th, the court ordered the plaintiffs to provide a supplemental brief explaining why new motions for summary judgments are necessary and specifically discussing what information the new motions would bring to light that the previous brief motions and the record did not already include. In a supplemental brief filed on October 2nd, the plaintiff argues that the district entirely changed the record in the case by filing additional spreadsheets, declarations, and descriptions of searches it claims to have performed after the coalition concluded its summary briefing. The coalition asserts that because the district wanted to file these materials until after the coalition's briefing concluded, the coalition did not brief whether these late filed documents show that the district performed an adequate search for the records and fully disclosed all non-exempt records responsive to the request. Plaintiffs also filed a motion to leave for file first amended complaint on October 2nd. The next status hearing is scheduled for November 22nd, and the plaintiff's motions are in Dropbox. OOG staff will continue to monitor this case. The next case is Gooch versus the District of Columbia Metropolitan Police Department. Case number 2023 CAB-002404 in DC Superior Court. I have also previously reported on this case in which a requester plaintiff sued the district for records related to his conviction. The plaintiff received partly redacted records. On July 24th, the district filed a motion for reconsideration of its motion for summary judgment. Following the court's denial of the defendant's motion, a status hearing was held on September 13th. The parties agreed to work on redactions and a bond index for the next hearing, which is scheduled for December 4th. The last case is Leslie Richards versus DC Finance and Treasury, case number 24-CV0034 in the DC Court of Appeals, and case number 2021-CA003762B in DC Superior Court. I have previously reported also on this pro se case in which the plaintiff appellant sought information about a disbursement. The DC Superior Court dismissed the complaint because the plaintiff failed to properly serve the district nor state a claim upon relief can be granted. The requester appealed. The district filed a motion for summary affirmance of the Superior Court's dismissal on July 8th. On September 30th, the court issued an order denying the district's motion and filed the motion as its brief. The matter is now awaiting calendaring, and our staff will continue to monitor. Legislation, Act 25-0424, the D.C. Water Critical Infrastructure Freedom of Information Clarification Amendment of 2024. On September 12th, the Council of the District of Columbia's Committee on Transportation and the Environment filed the report on Bill 25-424, the D.C. Water Critical Infrastructure Freedom of Information Clarification Amendment Act of 2024. On September 17th, the bill passed first reading unanimously. On October 1st, the bill passed final reading unanimously. The bill is now with the mayor, who is expected to sign the measure, after which it will go to the 30-day congressional review period. We can project the final law date in December or early January based on the current congressional calendar. With the temporary bill in effect, any DC FOIA advice issued is covered by the temporary legislation and will be also covered when once the permanent bill takes effect. The committee report, bill, and voting records are all in Dropbox. The last item are administrative matters, and that is the Parliamentary Procedure Portal. On September 25th, OOG debuted a new addition to our portal, Chair a Meeting with Confidence. This course is designed for new and seasoned board chairs or anyone presiding over a meeting to use Robert's Rules of Order to efficiently preside over that meeting. This concludes the Office of Open Government's October 10th, 2024 report. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Allen. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, no questions, but just congratulations for now being a graduate of probably one of the best leadership programs in the country. You may know that there's a long history here at Bega of directors, me included, and others taking the Centers for Creative Leadership, and now at the DC Bar as well. As part of our Leadership Academy program, we've been drawing on their resources. So congratulations and welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Next, we will hear from the Director of the Office of Government Ethics. I didn't realize this was working all of a sudden. Director Ashley Cooks, please proceed.
Good afternoon, presiding member Tucker. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Director of the Office of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First is an update on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur because of action taken by the board during today's meeting. For open investigations by status, we have a grand total of 60 open matters. For open undocketed matters, we have a grand total of 3. Pending state investigations by status, we have 35 matters that are closed pending collection, 2 matters stayed pending DC Superior Court case, 5 matters stayed for OIG investigation, 4 matters stayed for U.S. District Court case for a grand total of 46. For regulatory matters by status, we have 36 matters that are closed pending collection, 262 matters open for a grand total of 298. Again, we currently have 60 investigations that are open and 11 investigations that are saved. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 8 new matters. The investigative team resolved 13 investigations since the board last met. This total does not reflect the number of complaints that were dismissed for a lack of jurisdiction. OGE has continued its communications and referrals to the Chief Financial Officer's Central Collection Unit, CCU, for the collection of delinquent debts. We continue holding regular meetings with the CCU team. Later this month, OGE will publish its quarterly complaint report and ethics heat map for the 4th quarter of fiscal year 2024. When it is completed, a copy will be placed in Dropbox. Next is an update on trainings and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. General Counsel Raj Shiraj, Chief of Staff Christina Mitchell, and I attended the 23rd Annual Compliance and Ethics Institute by the Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics in Grapevine, Texas. Notable sessions included Making Learning Binge-Worthy, Reimagining Mandatory Compliance, the Ethics of Remote Work, Compliance and Accountability in a Virtual World, and a plenary session on modern slavery and supply chains. Other themes included using data to improve compliance programs, DEI, neurodiversity, and how to make training more engaging. Investigators Ileana Perez, Rhoda Glasgow, and Tasia Reed attended the Society of Corporate Compliance and Ethics Experience Investigator workshop, also in Grapevine, Texas. The workshop's primary objective was to get investigators to move past the basic how-tos of investigation and to get to the next level of knowledge, the why. Attorney advisor Franshawn Van took trial evidence 2024 and an intensive program opening statement and closing arguments online. Program support assistant Niquelle Allen attended Microsoft Office 365 Excel Part 2, managing your time so it doesn't manage you, and writing with a professional mindset. Ms. Titus and Administrative Officer Tyrell Dow took deliverables on deadline, mastering project tracking techniques. Investigator Rhoda Glasgow attended Bega's Global Hashtag training, ACA reporting and PeopleSoft, and privacy basics. All OGE staff attended a training on the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA Title I and Title II, presented by the Office of Disability Rights. Next is an update on trainings conducted by staff. Since the August board meeting, OGE conducted 11 trainings. These included 2 employee orientations, October monthly ethics training and monthly hashtag training, 2 trainings for the Department of Employment Services, 2 trainings for the Department of Parks and Recreation, a DC One Fund training for the Executive Office of the Mayor, a customized scenario-based training for the Department of Disability Services, and the September Ethics Council Brown Bag session. On Monday, September 30th, Attorney Advisor Maurice Eccles presented the September Ethics Council Brown Bag session. This session offered annual guidance on the DC One Fund. 18 ethics councils attended and asked questions. A copy of the presentation is placed in the Dropbox for your review. During the month of September, 102 employees completed ethics training using PeopleSoft, and 9 employees were added to the learning management system. For an update on outreach, OGE is in the final planning stages of our annual ethics conference, Ethics Week 2024, which will take place next week, October 15th through the 18th. This year's theme is Empowered by Ethics, and the courses are designed to provide attendees with knowledge and ways to apply ethics and open government rules. The first 2 days of the conference will take place at our office, but the remaining days will be virtual. We plan to offer new courses such as common ethics violations, learn from them and avoid them, a recusal workshop, a fireside chat, journalism and ethics, as well as traditional courses such as parliamentary procedure and being ethical is harder than you think. A copy of the most recent schedule was published on the website and placed in the Dropbox. Lastly, OGE will publish the 5th issue of its bi-monthly newsletter, Ethically Speaking, on October 16th. A copy will be placed in the Dropbox next month. Next is an update on advisory opinions and advice. First, for informal advice, OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 32 ethics inquiries, which is 34 less than the 66 reported at the last board meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to the questions regarding the lobbyist and FPSC filing systems. For formal advisory opinions, as mentioned last month, 3 advisory opinions were published on July 12, 2024 for a 30-day comment period. We have received several comments on the advisory opinion concerning advisory neighborhood commissioner sign-on letters. The advisory opinion responds to the Office of Advisory Neighborhood Commission's request for advice on the parameters around the drafting, circulating, and sending of sign-on letters by advisory neighborhood commissioners. This advisory opinion is still in edit, and we intend to repost with another comment period. The other 2 advisory opinions mentioned last month, titled Guidance on Social Media Use for Official Purposes by District Government Elected Officials and District Government Employees, and Post-Employment Attorney Appearance Advisory Opinion were sent to the DC Register and published on Friday, September 20th, 2024. Next is an update on legislation and rulemaking, financial disclosure rulemaking. On September 27th, Bega's rulemaking, which designates certain boards and commission members as public financial disclosure statement filers, was finalized in the DC Register. OGE has drafted another financial disclosure rulemaking, which addresses technical and minor substantive changes to the financial disclosure regulations. This rulemaking will provide clarity for regulations that are ambiguous and corrects language that does not align with the Ethics Act in Chapter 18 of the DC Personnel Regulations. Next is an update on OGE administrative matters. Attorney advisor vacancy. OGE is excited to introduce our new attorney advisor, Brenda Keels. Ms. Keels started on September 23rd and comes to us from the Executive Office of the Mayor. Ms. Keels is a graduate of Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina, where she earned her undergraduate degree before continuing her studies in African Studies at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, focused on the African diaspora. She went on to earn her JD from African University of America School of Law and her LLM from Georgetown University Law Center. Growing up in Washington, D.C., Brenda developed a deep commitment to public service. With a strong background in education, she served as a Teach for America Corps member, a special education teacher in D.C. Jails Incarcerated Youth Programs, and law teaching fellow in Georgetown Law Street Law Clinic. Please join me in welcoming Brenda to OGE.
Can she identify herself? Welcome. We heard all this great stuff about you, but I just wanted to put a face to the name. Welcome.
Next is an update on financial disclosure statement, FDS. Pursuant to DC Official Code Sections 1-1162.24 and 1-1162.25, public officials and certain government employees must file a financial disclosure statement as a means of transparency and to prevent engaging in conduct that violates the Financial Conflicts of Interest Statute. Bega is responsible for ensuring that employees and public officials who meet the statutory requirement file their annual financial disclosure statement. The FDS team has begun enforcement measures for those filers who did not submit their statement in a timely manner. A fine notice was sent to these individuals on August 9, 2024, and the list of current employees has been shared with the Office of Pay and Retirement Services for the processing of garnishments. Council members' next biannual filings are due on November 15th. Reminder letters will be delivered to council members and their staff on October 15th. Next is an update on lobbying registration and reporting, LRR. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.27a, a person who receives compensation or expends funds in an amount of $250 or more in a 3 consecutive calendar month period for lobbying shall register with the Director of Government Ethics and pay the required registration fees. According to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.30, each registrant shall file a quarterly report concerning the registrant's lobbying activity during the previous quarter. On September 13th, the LRR team sent 895 registrants and clients notice that the 2024 Q3 activity reports are due on October 15th. The notice included the new fee and late penalty fee structures. On September 27th and 30th, the LRR team sent reminders in the press release to registrants and clients. Attorney advisor Maurice Eccles and program coordinator Sam Kosick gave their quarterly LRR training on September 25th to 22 attendees. Lastly, Auditor Courtney Walker completed audits for Bega's lobbyist activity reports for Q4 2022 through Q4 2024. And last is an update on public investigations. First one is 24-0009F, Henry Aretha Chapman. This is a formal investigation based on allegations that the respondent violated the outside employment restrictions by working 5 or 6 hours per day, but claiming 8 or 9 hours on her timesheet, violated the government property restrictions by obtaining confidential information under false pretenses, and violated the prohibition on using public office for private gain by using her status as a DC public school employee to obtain confidential information. A hearing is scheduled for November 14th through the 15th, 2024. Next is 24-0010F, Henry Marcellus Willis. This is a formal investigation based on a complaint that the respondent, former employee of the University of the District of Columbia, used the government purchase card to make unauthorized purchases. Respondent worked at UDC for 5 years and was responsible for handling procurement for the university. The board approved a notice of violation, which contains assertions that the respondent violated DPM section 1800.3G by using public office or private gain, and DPM section 1808.1 by failing to protect and conserve government property. A public hearing is scheduled for March 6th and 7th, 2025. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics, October 20th, 2024 report. I welcome any questions you may have.
Anyone have any questions?
Again, just a comment. So during my confirmation hearing, the council member asked me about what some of our biggest issues were when it comes to trending ethics violations, and I think I was accurate when I reported that this getting second side jobs, side hustles, whatever you want to call them, is probably the biggest issue going on right now. And she wanted to know how we intended to deal with it beyond just the, investigating and sanctioning. And I told her that we were going to do our best to be proactive about it and inform people through education and other means to let them know that this really is a problem, because unlike our colleagues in the private sector who can do that without much limitation on a company by company basis, it really is an ethics violation, a potential criminal violation when you do it in the government. And I was thinking about ways to do that. And recently at the DC Bar, we had a Court of Appeals case come down that was contrary in some ways to advice that the DC Bar had been giving out recently. And it readjusted the way we were had to provide legal ethics advice. And I won't get into the in re Alexi opinion, but except to the extent that we did an ethics alert on the subject line in an email to everybody, all 119,000 members of the DC Bar, telling them about this case, because otherwise we wouldn't want to just expect them to go out and read it themselves or even put it in a newsletter, and we have plenty of those. But it was important enough to our members that we did in the subject line ethics alert and then explained what the change in the law was. And I'm just wondering if we should be doing something like that here when it comes to these side hustles, something to really grab folks' attention so that they look at it. So maybe give it a little bit of thought and see how we might be able to do something like that. I think it would make sense.
Yeah, we've given some thought to it, DE, and the first step is that we actually have a course for Ethics Week that's going to target outside employment. The second step is that we're in the process of creating a training that's based only on outside employment, which we plan to partner with the mayor's office to try to get the word out to agencies and folks, and we'll send that out to our public flyers as well. We'll send it out to our ethics counselors, letter, of course. But we do have some training to target outside employment in the work.
Good. Okay.
But I would appreciate if you could send whatever.
Well, you probably got it. You're a DC Bar member. Check your email because it says ethics alert in the subject line, and it's about in re Alexi, the recent DCCA case. And I think a similar model might be useful to consider if it's possible.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And on a similar note, I just wanted to say that I looked at the agenda for Ethics Week and it looks terrific. I appreciate all the hard work that you and your staff have been putting into it, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, thank you very much, Director Cooks. The public was invited to submit comments in writing by 11 a.m. today, and the board received one comment from a member of the public. Members of the public in attendance at the meeting also have an opportunity to make a comment at this time. Anyone would like to? There are no additional comments from the public. We will proceed with the next item on the agenda. which is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B2. May I please have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the board will enter into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Board members, we ask that you please log off of this meeting and sign into the executive session, and we will move over to the boardroom for this session. We will return to this meeting after the conclusion of the executive session to report out any matters that have been decided, to finish any other business, and to adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Okay, it is now 1:28 p.m. and we are back on the record. The board would like to report out two matters from executive session. First, in the matter of 24-0007-F, board voted to remove the stay, and that matter is called In Re Mark Davis. And second, the board approved a notice of proposed rulemaking to amend the financial disclosure regulations. This notice will be published in the DC Register. It is now 1:29 p.m. and this concludes the meeting of the DC Board of Government Accountability. The next meeting will be held at the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability here at 1030 15th Street Northwest, Suite 700 West, and virtually on November 14th, 2024 at 12 p.m. Thank you.
We'll see everybody at Ethics Week next week.
Yes, happy Ethics Week.
We just didn't show confidence.
Thanks, good meeting.